And, you know, and that's when we bought the farm. And he was in West Virginia. But, no, and that's when we lived in, that's when we moved to Bethesda, Talk Centers. What?
Why do you suppose he wanted the farm?
He wanted some land. Well, partly, I don't know if he thought of, now in those days, we didn't think of you know, going someplace, but he just wanted some land, and he thought it'd be a nice place to go for weekends. Well, you know, I don't know if David's ever told you about that house, but it was 2 rooms down and 2, when we went to see it, I remember the kids, the man had pigs, and the kids with, Andy Carraway was with his mother. His father traveled a lot, so very often on weekends, we'd go look for property. And we had an old station wagon, the Nash Rambler station wagon, and the kids would all sit back, in the back, with the thing down.
Tailgate down.
Tailgate down, and 3 of us would be, I guess, yeah, there was room for 3 in front, and we'd look at property. And I remember we went to someplace when and we went to West Virginia, these god-awful places, and I thought it was just fun, you know, I didn't think we were really going to buy anything. And I remember one old guy telling us he thought there was uranium on the property. And finally, I remember Andy and David and the kids all playing with these, looking at these gruntlys, these pigs. And Russell said, well, what do you think? And I said, well, what do you think? Oh, I think it's a good buy. So we bought it, and it's $3,000 for 99 acres. And it had this house.
Was it drafty and cold?
Well, it was, we never went there in the winter. It was cold in the winter and hot in the summer. 2 rooms up and 2 rooms down. A living room, and they sold us all the overstuffed furniture for $5. And I think it was $10 for the rugs. And there were these linoleums, square, like, you know, like a 9x12 linoleum with, wasn't even inlaid linoleum, was where it had the something painted on it. So it was, and I said, we don't want that furniture. Oh, well, it's furniture, we'll have it. Well, found out later that the mice all lived in the furniture.
Oh my
So we
God.
had to get rid of that. We called somebody down the road and said, you want this furniture? And they said, sure. But we went that first weekend, we went to stay there. And it had an outhouse, no bathroom. It had a porch, but
Oh, I don't
it had an
believe it.
outhouse.
I don't
And
believe
we went, you know, we were going to use the outhouse. And they were like, you know, they had taken all their garbage and piled it into the outhouse, so you couldn't use it. So Dad dug some slip trenches. And I remember we had aluminum cots with plastic. I don't think we had any beds there, I don't remember, but anyway, we were sleeping on these cots, and the staircase had old carpeting on it, and I could hear these mousers coming up the
Oh,
stairs.
goodness.
So we left the next day, and we immediately went to see a plumber about having a bathroom put in. And we put a bathroom in
So
there.
you
I don't
did.
know. So, yeah, and then we'd go down, but it had an old stove. I would never use the oven. But we'd cook hamburgers and things like that. And we'd go out, and the kids would play in the barn, and Daddy would go out on he had a tractor of some kind, or he had this Jerry, this mower thing, special Jerry thing that he had bought, and he'd have a hell of a time. Or we'd go into Berkeley Springs, and they had runs, little runs, and they had a swimming pool, and the kids and Dad would go in the swimming pool, and Paul would play in the water in these little runs, and I'd be with him. And, you know, we'd cook hamburgers and stuff like that. But, you know, I had finally a house with air conditioning, and a washer and a dryer, and, you know, a gas stove, and it was a nice house. And here it's been, so we didn't go very often. I remember we'd take about an hour and a half to get there, I guess. Not that long?
To get to the farm,
More.
originally 4 hours, and then when they put 270 in, it eventually got to be 2 hours.
Oh, I didn't think
But it was
that.
forever to get there when we used to go the back way.
Yeah, and we'd stop someplace in a town in West Virginia where the man made ice cream.
Middletown.
Middletown.
Actually, it was in Maryland.
Middletown.
Yeah.
And we'd have ice cream. And it was good ice cream. Maple walnut, not maple walnut, but it was good.